Option of when you're learning Svarim Kedoshim or Chassidish Svarim, they give you the koyach to learn the full drosha, and then they have like sikhas or smaller sections of famous sayings they said, or letters, or moments of like cute words that were said, but it wasn't organized to be. It wasn't organized in the sense of becoming a sefer. It was said over in a more like so we had a breakfast together with Rav Shalom. I'll say something in the breakfast, but it wasn't a formal speech, when he does a shir publicly or in the daily classes. It was an extra thing where he said over something, and we want to save it, so someone wrote it down or recorded it, and then it became these sections at the back of the Svarim. And you see it again and again, like I have, for example, Vayikra Svarim, so he has the main Torahs, then they have all the smaller like examples, which I think that would be that part of the Sefer, and then he also has all the drashas that were remembered, because remember they couldn't write it down on Shabbos or Yom Tov.
And so, can I ask briefly, like?
And this is Reb Nachum of Chernobyl we're learning now. Einaim was a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, Mamish. Yeah.
Is it direct Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov?
Yeah, and he was close to the Maggid. I believe it's around that time, the Chernobyl. He was called the Chernobyl Maggid. Then there's the Maggid of Mezrich, and he had a son, I believe, was Mordechai Chernobyl. And Mordechai Chernobyl had 10 sons who became many dynasties of Chassidus. Skver, Tolner, my Rebbe's Chassidus. He's a descendant from David Tolner, who was a son from Mordechai Chernobyl. He's all the way back. He has a Sefer Torah, his Tehillim. So I have a direct Masorah from the Einaim, from my Rebbe, in terms of learning, and it's in terms of Chassidus, it's a very strong Masorah because it goes all the way back to the original Baal Shem Tov's Chassidim.
I guess the question I'm trying to ask is like, what's the like, basically on one foot, but like the premises or the like perspectives that like are more in balance here. Like the way Rav was comparing like Chabad is very like future focus versus Ishmael.
So the way Tzaddikim explained the Drachim of Chassidus is it's connected the Adam Kodman, like the way the man is formed in the Adam Elyon. And I know these things, I'm just saying over what Tzaddikim has said. So the idea of Chacham Bin Adas is connected to Chabad, and Sfiras Elyonim is Chacham Bin Adas. That's the derech of Chassidus, where they're focused in on hisbonenus. And then there's the derech of Breslov and others. There's a few other maybe Drochim that have a similar kind of kavun. Maybe Izvish says a little bit like that. The idea of Nehim Chassidikim, Netzach Hod Yisod Malchus. Yeah, they're busy with the not so much the Malchus, more Netzach Hod Yisod. Yeah, Nahi. And then you have, that's the more lower part of that. So you have the mind and the lower part, and then you have the middle, the body, the goof of Chassidus is Chagat, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes. And that would be majority of mainstream Chassidus. Bells, and just go list off all the Chassiduses. Yeah? So this is the majority fit in that realm. And the way it comes out in terms of the derech of learning and Svarim, without spending too long on this because we actually want to learn. Yeah. And I'm a bit late and I apologize. But the idea we have the concept of that the mainstream Chassidus is focusing on vorts that the Rebbe said over at a Shabbos or a Yom Tov. It wasn't necessarily meant to be put in a sefer, and if it was meant to be put in a sefer, the Rebbe didn't sit and medayek every single thing. So it's not like perfectly written according to the way the Rebbe would have wanted it. That's one chesaron of the Svarim in that way. Whereas, say for example, the Tanya, everything was months and months of meditation on every single part of it. So when you're learning it, it's like they call it like the Torah Shabbat of Chassidus. Like it's a tremendous awe towards the Sefer Tanya. If you're a Chassid of Chabad, you start to realize it's the core. It's you're getting the moach from the Rebbe, like mamash, like he put all his head and mind into the Svarim. So the Chassidim didn't have to keep coming to him for eitzes in Avodas Hashem. They could just open up the Tanya and the Rebbe's talking to them in a way. And he wrote it with that in mind. As with the Maimarim, I think it's slightly different. But then we come to other Chassidus are like more Einaim. So once again, he was saying over Torah on Shabbos or Yom Tov or during the week, and it was put down in a sefer. But what is it like? He sat there and like went through it and like made it in such a way that it would be a derech for the Chassidim forever, with specific hadracha. It wasn't like Chabad is it's hadracha. It's like giving you a breakdown, the system of Chassidus. This is more like Torahs, explanations on the Parshat, the feel what the Rebbe said. But to single out Nakudas, you'd have to be learning a lot of the Svarim again and again to get out, or have a Masorah from a Rebbe, like my Rebbe has, that you have it all the way back when you know what the Rebbe's main Nakudas were. Mm-hmm. Like a famous Nakuda, the Moranim, the difference to the Chabad, maybe we'll come to it, we'll see. But just as a famous example where they differ, is with Machshavas Ras, the Chabad Tzaddikim hold a shita called Sirch Das. You should Sirch Das from them, yeah? Meaning you should not pay attention to them. That's the best eitzah from the Balatanya. I was just learning it the other day. Like you shouldn't, if something comes into your head, you shouldn't focus on it. You should get busy with Asay Tov. It's something positive. It's the best way to deal with a Machshavas Ras. Whereas Moranim says you can go into the shorish of the Dava, of the Machshavah Ra, and you can find how it has an akudah of Avos Hashem, Yiras Hashem, like you elevate it. It's a whole different shita.
Yeah.
And generally, I think people agree more with the Chabad shita, like the Maisa nowadays, because in that nakuda, because it takes a certain high level to elevate thoughts. It's probably safer just to ignore them and start trying to be ma'in into them and elevate them. You have to be a shtuk sadik to do that kind of avodah. So that's also another issue, that the Chabad Svarim are called Sefer Beinanim, so they're helping the Beinanim. The rest of Svarim are called Sefer Rishaim. I mean, this is just a generalization, but this concept is helping all the people who are having Nisyonis in a big way. And then Chassidus is called Sefer Svarim Tzadikas. The mainstream Chassidim is Svarim Tzadikim, like people like the Naamani Melech, like high level avodas, which most of us can't do. You have to be a tzaddik. So it doesn't mean you don't learn them because you're connecting to the tzaddik. It's still to Ellis. But just a heads up that generally we're holding in these are very high levels we're learning about. It's just good to have that in mind. We're learning, say, for like Moranim. He had Talmidim all the way down, and he had students. He had great Einach. My Rebbe used to give over every week David Tona. That's a direct grandson from the Moranim. And it was very geschmack. Every Friday night, give over a whole shtick from David Tona, and usually mention it as well at some point in the Shabbos. And then, if you ever heard from Rachman's Chiska Rebbe, he's also an Einikul from David Tona, from Chernobyl. There's a lot of Chiska Magids, also an Einikul from the Moranim, and they're still around. Trisk, Chernobyl Chassidim, obviously. Yeah, they're still from the original Moranim. So there's a whole dynasty that came out of it. It's there, Anyway, let's go. When I went to see my Rebbe, he had the Rachman's Chiska Rebbe was there as well. I saw him. There was a bunch of other Rebbes who were there. This was just when was this? It was the Tu B'Shvat. It was also Sheva Brachas. Moshe v'daba Hashem alav ma'amoed v'gomer yesh lahavin shemtchila stam. So we're learning about Vayikra. The begin stam Vayikra v'lo perish mikra. It doesn't say who it's calling out to. Do you want to read?
Sure.
V'achakach. After that.
Perush v'daber Hashem elav.
Yeah.
הנה העניין הוא שהשם יתברך הוציאנו ממצרים ונתן לנו תכף מצוות פסח ומילה. So the matter here is that Hashem Yitbarach, he took us out of Mitzrayim, and immediately we're like going into this mitzvah of Pesach and the mitzvah of Brit Milah.
He gave us straight away the mitzvah of Pesach and Milah.
ואחר כך קרא לנו את Hayam, and after that he splits the sea. ואחר כך הוליכנו במדבר בעמוד עדן יומם ובעמוד אש לילה, and after this we're traveling midbar, following the pillar of cloud by day, a pillar of fire by night.
Right.
ואחר כך נתן לנו את התורה, ואחר כך ציווה לעשות משכן כאמור. So then we get the Torah and we're commanded on משכן, ועשו לי מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם. בתוכו לא נאמר וכולי.
So after that he gave us the Torah, and after that he commanded us in the Mishkan, as it says in the Pasuk, yeah? In Shmos, we just had this in... This is not Vayikra, this is Truma, I think. Wait, no, actually it is Vayikra. I'm trying to remember. Kafei is Vayikra? Could be. And it says there, Vayikra says, B'soicha lo nemar chuli.
Is it not on any individual?
Yeah. Soicham.
כמשל מי שהיה מעולם במקום חושך ולא ראה אור מימיו.
Yeah. It's like a mashal, like an example, like story style. Me that was from this world, in a world of darkness, who never saw light all his days.
אם היה מוציאים אותו פתאום,
suddenly took him out, yeah. And suddenly what happens? La'avir olam.
ולא היה יכול לסבול האור.
Yeah. He can't tolerate. I meant to give this to someone who I was just with now. Oh well, next time. Yeah.
לא יכול לסבול אותה, ולכן צריך להראות לו בהדרגה שמתחילה עושים לו סדק קטן שיוכל לראות משם מעט אור.
So yeah, he's been suddenly taken out of Mitzrayim. We were like in the 49th level of Tumah, getting beaten up day after day, like it was like living in the Holocaust, Lo Aleinu, yeah? Living in these camps where they just get slave labor and people dying and being beaten up all day and terrorized by these Mitzrayim. And in this place of darkness, and suddenly he's drawn out suddenly into the light of the world, the air of the world, and he's not able to sober the awe. Suddenly he has a shul again, he has food, he has drink, he has mitzvahs. He can't be sober this light that's been given in front of him. So what happens? He needs to see himself at his level and slowly build himself up from that with a little bit of light. Step by step. It's all about small steps at that point. Okay? Because if you overwhelm yourself, like it's such a thing as like Shirat Kalim, where does it come from? When a person's Kalim fall apart. It's happened to me in Yiddishkeit as well, where you burn out. You know, when I came to Shiva, you're learning and you're davening and you're pushing yourself, and then you burn out. Yeah? What happens is ruby ore. You got too much light. That's the concept. It's a good thing to have a lot of light. But if your kalim break from it, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And your kalim, you have to be able to, so then you have to go step by step. In such an extreme situation, when someone's coming out from such darkness, they have to slowly introduce the light.
ואחר כך, יוצאים אותו לאוויר העולם, ומראים לו האור. So eventually you're able to take him into the full sunlight, after like slowly like getting him used to it. כך ישראל במצרים היו
Wow, he says more than I said. He says that in Mitzrayim they were in the Nun Shai Tumah, not just the Mem Test. So now look, that's a question underneath. It brings it from the Zohar Chodesh. Yeah? If we ever have a question, and we have a question right now, because I said Mem Test. I was very careful to say Mem Test. Yeah? So he says here, he says underneath, let's see. He says, Yisrael kad havu mitzrayim istavu, and his tadmu remain b'chol zinei misavu. Adahav ishrayin tachas abayim v'tisha chilei misasuvta. You see, so it does say, like I said, it was 49 levels of tumah. That lashon misuvta is tumah. Kodesh Baruch Hu apik, Kodesh Baruch Hu took him out. He saw him mitachas pochan kol shachilin. Okay, but anyway, the point is based on the Zohar that we were in the 49th. So what happened? If we would have been there a little bit more, it would have been the 50th. So it was about to enter the 50th. So it was a close as. Can you look? Yeah, you could say that. Truth is, you know, like the mice we're in now, the Nun Shai Tumah. Just for people should know that we're in the Nun Shai Tumah. But how do we solve it? How do we survive the Nun Shai Tumah when Am Yisrael then would have not survived it? because we have a big difference. We got the Torah by that point. We have the Torah now. So with the Torah, with Moshe Rabbeinu's Torah, we can sovel the Nun Shari Tumah. It says one of the reasons why it says Chomis Yeshua's Ben Nun. It says Chassidus Shavuot. You take the idea of Chomis. Why is it Chomis Yeshua's Ben Nun? Yeah. Why is Yerushalayim reading the Megillah on the 15th, based on a Masorah from the time of Yeshua Ben Nun? Walled cities of the time of Yeshua Ben Nun. So they can say Ben Nun. The Medayik and the fact that it was Ben Nun. They go into this whole context. Every time we mention Yeshua Ben Nun, it's Nun Shari Bina, Nun Shari Torah. It's taking you to that place of Pneumius, where the Yetzirah has no shlita on you. You're in a place of cheres, freedom, because you're in the Nun Shari Torah, Nun Shari Tshuva, Nun Shari Bina. So you have no shaykhs to this Nun Shari Tumah. So it can't. That part of Am Yisrael, that part of Pneumius connection has no. The Yetzirah has no access there, and that's the Nakuda why of all the people, Yeshua ben Nun, he was the one chosen to be Lochem of Amalek. In this week's Parsha, we're going to read about it in Parshat Zochor, and in the fact that the Yerushalayim keep according to Yeshua ben Nun, because he gives us that connection to that place where the Amalek can't be sholet, and that's part of the Avodah of Purim that we have. Amalek has no shlita on Purim. Part of the whole Yeshua. Haman, what was he hanged on? A 50 amma size 8s. See, then with Chassidus, everything connects up. Yeah. So it's interesting. For some reason, he said that it was 50th level. I don't know. Underneath his Zohar says 49th. Okay, but we were almost there. That's why I say sometimes that not everything's. I'm not authority to say this, but not everything written is b'juk, because it was said over and it was written after the fact, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Based on the Zohar, it's b'juk. Yeah. Ve'ilu hayamar lehem.
תכף זיו שכינתו לא היו יכולים לסבול. If it would have happened to them all at once, like in an instant, the like ray of light of the Shekhinah, they wouldn't have been able to tolerate it.
Yes.
לכן הוצרכו לכל הדרגות הנלמד. And for this reason, it was necessary that they took it in steps, as we've said.
Yeah, dargot. A very important thing, Klau, and Yiddishkeit. See, right now we could take this without even going any further and just say, step by step. Yiddishkeit, like how did Rabbi Akiva go in the Pardes? Step by step.
I still though might want to bring like
a jumping, skipping. There is an Indian of Bali Tshuva and people who jump levels. Yeah, it does happen. But as I said, I experienced that. I jumped levels. Came from Mamish Choshech. I was hanging around in nightclubs and who knows what. You know, I could tell you all my avers if you're interested. But I was busy in that world. And suddenly I'm in the world of Torah and mitzvahs of Tzaddikim, and I'm jumping levels. I'm getting up early and mikveh and davening and learning. And, you know, I had to, and then I had Shirat again. I had broke. And then I had to build up again step by step.
I guess the reason this kind of Torah is hard to hear is that I know so many people who like use this like siba, like use this reason, whether they're saying it in emes or not, like as the reason that they're not willing to grow anymore. Oh, not ready.
So he doesn't say don't grow. Yeah. He says step by step. He says grow. You want to get to the place where you're completely immersed in the light. You're no longer nothing to do with the darkness. You've elevated it, or you're above it, or whatever reality you're in. But you're definitely never not growing.
But wouldn't we classify like these 3 stages as like 3 gigantic jumps rather than like?
So the way it's explained from the Arizal, and we'll get to it probably. Even I don't know if the Einaim brings it, but the Sefer Meor Shemesh brings it. The idea of he brings the Arizal a few times where he says there's a concept called Gadlus Rishon, Gadlus Sheni, and Gadlus Sheni. The Gadlus Rishon is like the. You know, that's when you're born, you know, you're like a Katan Rishon. But then comes Gadlus Rishon, that's like your bar mitzvah years, if you're from birth, and if you're about tshuva later on, whenever you did tshuva. Then comes Gadlus Sheni, which most of us are generally in, and that's the whole Sfiras HaOmer. Then you're slowly, Leil Seder is Gadlus Rishon, the Sfiras HaOmer is step by step. It's a process, 49 levels. And then you get to Gadlus Sheni, which is Shavuos, that's the idea of Shavuos, or later on in your life, you're in your 20s, and now you've made a kinyan on Torah. Mm-hmm. Now you can become a shtickle rabbi or a shtickle mashpir or whatever it is, and you're a mashpir in your home. you can start giving over because you've got to level Gadlus Sheni, where you've reached Mokum to Gadlus, but not as a gift. It didn't come as a gift from Gadlus region like Pesach, where Shem took us out of Mitzrayim. Now you've earned it for all the hard work, all the schwitzing, all the grinding, all the steps, the gradual. That's what he's saying here, the gradual. Yeah. Otherwise, it's you're not going to be sober. And what happens when you're not sober? I just explain. He doesn't say it, but it's for us again. It can be more of the danger than not.
Yeah.
And I've gone through it. It's horrible. You don't want to learn, you want to dumb, and you feel like you're dying because you're just not functional. Your body is not where you're at. You're not holding where you want to be. So you're just dysfunctional as a spiritual person. It's a mess. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was dying when I went through it. I get moments of it still, like, but at Baruch Hashem, once you get used to it, you don't take it seriously. Like, you learn how to deal with the voices in a different way. But it's a Muhammad Sayyid's on a certain level. But in the end of the day, you have to take steps for it to have a long term.
I guess the Shirat Kelim, like that paradigm, that mashal. At one point I was working in a psychiatric hospital. Like I'd been around people like mamash shavu.
Yeah, so you understand what I'm saying. Okay. I didn't end up in psycho ward or anything. The yeshiva, they sent me mashgiach in Osamek when that happened, sent me to a therapist in the area, Naz Abira. I went there. He's a famous person, a very special person. He's helped a lot of people. I went to him, and we did one session together, and the yeshiva was sponsoring it because they wanted me to get help. And the guy said, only problem I see, he came out of the thing, he told it to the mashgiach, he was very upset, the mashgiach also. The only problem I see is he's not learning enough Chassidus, because that's what we ended up doing the rest of the session. He said, I see with this guy, you're just not giving him enough what his neshama needs, which is Chassidus. So for Litvish Yeshiva, that was very hard for them to hear that from a therapist.
What just happened with Chappelle's and me now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We were planning to be around Pesach. So,
okay.
But Baruch Hashem, we're making it work.
Rev, who are you friends with? What's his name? He's very special. He's a chassid of my Rebbe. Five Shista.
He's no longer there, but I have been.
He's not at Chappelle's anymore?
No, but I've been listening to Shurim.
When that happened?
Like 2 years ago. The new mashgiach.
No idea. He's not there anymore.
No, he gives a shir weekly in Rechavia though, or Katavan.
I had no idea.
Wow. No, but I mean his midrash shir once a week. In Kamo.
Wow, didn't know that about him.
I think there's also been I was discussing with him some of the reasons he left. Not that it's for me to share. But
he's a chassid. He's a chassid of the Talmud Rebbe. So if you want to know the story from Meor and Einaim, he goes back to he has shaykhs also Kalin as well. I think a little bit. But he shaykhs the Talmud Rebbe very much, which is this Masorah. But remember, the Talmud Rebbe got very involved with Ger and Tzfas Emes, so he's got a lot of. Also, my Rebbe is very strong in Chabad Sfarim as well. My Rebbe is strong in everything. He's a huge Gaon in Talmud Chacham, so it's hard to pin him down onto anything specific. Even though he has a Ger and Chernobyl as the two main influences on his Levush and his Minhagim, but
that's where
doesn't mean that's the Torah. It's different.
Yeah, I get a little lost in the sauce sometimes with like, where's the line between the outward expression that's almost like lahavdi, like ethnic, to the point of like this is an ideology. You find the book that speaks to you, like.
Well, look, here I think when he's talking about Meor and Einaim, I imagine, I don't know for sure, but I assume he's talking here in terms of step by step. He's talking about in levels of tikkun amidus and working on your ruchnius levels.
More
but once you get to because by them they didn't have these kind of sort of existential like external challenges because they already grew up with it. They grew up with it was a strong dagesh. And my Rebbe always says over from the base Israel that, when he talks about leaving Mitzrayim, one of the schusim we had was we had our levush, we had our names, we had our language. So we have to hold strong in those things as well in the days of Mashiach. It's like our degel. That's the way they used to say it over. Like they became a Gouda. It was a whole thing, degel. The idea of having like a flag of like what we represent, So if you feel drawn to that and it's, this is as coming from outside and you want to take it on, I did for many, many, many years personally, was completely involved with the Chassidus derech in terms of, I still keep them in Hagim, but in terms of the Levush, just whatever. My personal journey is my personal journey, but one of my sons is holding very strong onto all the levushim and everything, and he feels that that's MS. It was hard for him when I wasn't wearing a long jacket every day and a black hat and all that stuff, because he feels that that's what you wear, and you go to daven, you go to learn, you go to eat, you wear it's like a levush, like you're in the army, and that's your soldier's uniform. That's how my son, that's how my Rebbe understands it as well. So it's been a journey for me personally, but what I would focus on right now, and I was saying this to Shlomo today after the shir he gave, I said we have to be more and more panemius in our door. That's my bottom line, hashkaf on the whole situation. And I think that's what the Meor Einaim is talking about. I don't think he's talking about any of these kind of issues right now.
Yeah.
He's talking about dargot and ruchnius, which is kula panemius in a certain sense. So let's read Vayikra. Because what's the main purpose at the end of the day when you're going these levels is to build a dwelling for Hashem. That's panemius. That's not going to shchanti b'socham. It's inside of us. It's not about how we look. Maybe there'll be, when Mashiach comes, there'll be a clarification of the levush of Am Yisrael, of what we're supposed to wear. Mashiach comes, we'll all wear turbans and white gowns, I'm sure Isaac's very excited for that.
It connotes also a bit of it's already there. So there's nothing. It's so panemi that whatever I'm doing doesn't change it, right?
Yeah.
So where's the line between it is steps and I have to work and get there, and it is already just existing.
The levels.
The capacity for shachanti b'tocham seems to imply it's already.
Yeah, Hashem gave us the Shekhinah amongst us, but we had built the Kalim, we'd built the vessels, we'd built the Mishkan. We'd done the Ratzon Hashem for the Shekhinah to dwell amongst us. It's a relationship. It's not, can't just be Hashem putting a Shekhinah on us and we're like, the Shekhinah goes with us into Gadlus, but there's obviously levels of the Shekhinah. The Gilui of Shekhinah, there's the level of the Shekhinah that goes with us into Gadlus, like we say in Tehillim. He goes with, I don't know if there's a Tehillim here, but he goes with us in our sufferings. The Shekhinah goes with us. Anochi Basar, in my Basar. We're suffering and Hashem comes with us, but it doesn't mean it's the same Gilui Shekhinah of the Mishkan. I don't understand these things. I don't know, because I haven't experienced so much Gilui Shekhinah, honestly, other than a few high moments in Yiddishkeit, like Leil Seder, or when you're with a Tzaddik, or you have a moment of just where you're just in a state of simcha, and you feel and you hope that the Shekhinah is at that place, in that moment. It's hard to discuss things which we don't experience on an experiential level. There's been moments of it, and that gives you that hope that we will be zocher to that in the full sense of the Beis Hamikdash, and even in the individual sense of Gala Nafshi, I have my own personal gula and be zocher to Gilui Shekhinah in my own life. But these are things that we have to daven for, but the point is that the tachlis, we have to know that that's the goal, and we have to make steps towards it. But we shouldn't have, one of the important things that I've learned over the years is not to have dimyonis, not to imagine you're holding where you're not. Very important Pirkei Avos is to makir et makom, to know your place. You know your place, you won't have dimyonis. And when you don't have dimyonis, then your Yiddishkeit is about reality, not imaginations. You can imagine amazing, it says in the Svarim, you use your imagination to midoma on the emes Messias. You want the Beis Hamikdash, you want the Kohen Gadol, and all the stuff you're learning in Shas and Poskim and Svarim. You're seeing, you use the imagination to midame holy, true things. But to not think that you're on that level, that would be to start taking that dimyonis and using it to imagine you're experiencing Gilui Shekhinah. It's probably better, safer not to do stuff like that. Once again, it's skipping steps. It can lead to delusion, a little bit. And one of the things I'm learning Sefer Tanya is he takes very clear steps in explaining how the neshama works and what the steps are and what the Yetzer Hara is, what's the Yetzer Tov. When I was around Tzaddikim, you get levels of Gilui that you're probably not zocher to. You're getting it in their schus. So you have the schus that you mashamash tzaddik, you're around the tzaddiks, you get an elevation being around them. You go to Uman, you have a moment of like, wow, or holy Kvarim about Shem Tov. You go somewhere, you go to a mikveh, the Arizal mikveh. You have an aliyah for being in that holy place, in that holy thing. But the important part is to realize it's in their merit. Now you're going to have to do the inner work once again, just like with the Katan Sheni, you're going to have to do the hard work, the grinding, to make that part of you. Be more shaykh those levels yourself, within. So that's why you always have to take it back to yourself. Am I really holding by that? Probably not. So now I'm going to have to make the hosep. I know it's out there. I know there's this tachlis, this purpose of Shekhinah, this purpose of Gilui, this purpose of Tzaddikim, this purpose of these levels. But I have to now make steps, take steps, and I have to go through the slow grind. And Hashem gets nachas from that.
I mean, I found myself lately in observing that the mashal comes to mind is like people looking at their talis like a varsity high school jacket from yeshiva.
I don't really connect to that, but yeah.
But it's
I
nostalgic
wasn't
for
so
when they were
involved with.
spiritual.
I mean, I went to school near Harrow, so there was all this like fancy clothing, and they had all these bowler hats.
The idea that you're nostalgic for when you were spiritual, rather than being it.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay. Yeah. That's an issue that people have when they like talk about leaving yeshiva, and then they go back into the workplace. And when I was in yeshiva, I was from. Now I'm in the workplace, I'm a shegetz. You know, that kind of issue. But then that's not true Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit is all-encompassing, everything. And Chassidus makes no hevdil between whether you're learning and davening, you're always in a state of potential deveikus to Hashem. You have to be honest and realize that when you're in a state of working, you're probably experiencing much more exposure to Yetzer Hara and Nisyonis, so you have to be real with that reality in front of you, and therefore it's triggering potential, your readers and stuff like that, and you have to be aware of that. But at the same time, when you're in the base midrash, you can also have Nisyonis and the thinking Gaiva and other things, other Nisyonis. Like it's a subtle thing, it's an idle thing, and you have to work on yourself, constantly checking yourself in a healthy way, in the right time, with the right tools of where you're holding, and constantly check. So then the point is, the Vodas Hashem is always, it's tamid. It's Shris Hashem tamid. It's constant. It's shtavus. It's a constant avoda. It's not based on nostalgia and on previous moments. It's a constant struggle. You're struggling now to serve Hashem. That's the right mindset.
Well, I guess that guy seems like he's come to accept the Katnut Sheni. Is that...
No, you should never stay in Katan Sheni. That's why he said the tachlis is a Shechina, Gilui Shechina. You have to constantly striving, otherwise you're not growing enough.
Is there
You're stuck, or worse.
I guess what I'm trying to articulate, like the almost rejection of entering that Katnut Sheni. Like knowing that it's happening, but like...
No, you have to fully embrace it. Fully embrace it. That's why we have Surah Sa'omer, to teach us how to do the avodah of Gadlus Rishon, Katan Sheni, and Gadlus Sheni. We have to constantly do that avodah. It's based on our reason, and it's constant avodah. This is what a yid does. That's how we grow, step by step. You don't want to do anything else? There's no time.
I hope
Get
to
ready
be
for
able to read
mincha.
it before Shabbat, but I'm gonna wash my hands and stuff.
Okay, good. So I think the main nekuda from that shtickle Torah, and he does a summary here. B'nei Yisrael mishkiim betumas Mitzrayim v'sorchel alas medrega achim medrega ad to shows Shechina b'mishkan. So that's the goal. The goal is what? And so when it says at the beginning, it starts with a little bit of a question. Mi Kara, who's he calling out to? Yeah. Do you have the answer from this? Who's he calling out to?
B'nai Israel.
B'nai Yisrael what?
How to foster the Shechina b'tocham.
Yeah, and really that's why this parsha is so appropriate right now with Purim coming up. We'll just end off with this, that it's Torah's Kahanim, and it's now alive. Everything we learn about in Truma, Tetzaveh, Vayikra, Pekudah, and the whole goal of getting out of Mitzrayim was to do what we're doing now in Parshas Vayikra. Korbanos, to serve Hashem, to have the Gilui Shechina, and to do the works of Hashem. We're not just learning about it, we're not just hearing about this place, now we're able to perform it, and the Shechina is with us in that performance. Because we've reached that level after going out of Mitzrayim, where we can now sovel the light. We can sovel the light because we went through all the steps. We went through the Yam, we went through Surah Summer, we got the Torah, we had Nisyonis, and we came out of those Nisyonis. Vayikra Pekude, now the second Mishkan was like a tikkun of what happened with the Egel Zav. So now we're at a state of Vayikra, Toras Kanim, where we're able to now, Hashem's calling us, and we're able to hear the call, and we're able to sovel it, because we did the steps. And that's, hopefully this Shabbos, we're going to feel that a little bit, Hashem's calling us, and that's to the point where we can come to Purim, and we can experience what it's like to serve Hashem in the truest way, because Purim is that kind of gilui, it's that kind of light of eating a Suda and serving a